still live in the haunted house, right? That I stayed overnight.
I will. Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about where that is, though. We never
Well,
divulged.
no.
We never divulged exactly where, but yeah, I
But
still do.
it's still the haunted house, right? You want to tell Blake about the haunted house?
It's oh man, yeah. And the night you spent the night, it was in full effect. Like everybody was just like, "What is going on?" Like even
because you had
Myra
stayed there all night.
She stayed there, and like I just remember being on the air mattress, giving her the bed, giving you the other bed. I was the air mattress, and like the air mattress had a hole in it. So it's like, you kind of wake up.
I
and
didn't
like,
realize that. See, you could have slept in a bed. I would have slept on the couch. I appreciate
oh
you letting
no,
me stay
dude,
there.
we don't do that. I just remember waking up on the floor, Blake, like thinking, oh, all the air is out. So I was like, on a wooden floor. I was laying there, and I was like, this sucks. And then I think it was like 2:47 in the morning, maybe 3:47 in the morning. And I just remember feeling like the planks moving. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, no, come on. And I was like, yeah, there is definitely a ghost here right by me walking down. And then you heard it. And I was just like, I'm already so tired. I just don't have time for this. And I know who it is and what ghost it is and blah, blah, blah. And I never said anything. But the next day when we were having breakfast, me and Myra were having something. You were on your way already. She was like, hey, what? I was like, oh, here it comes. She's like, yeah, what was going? Did you hear? Did you see? And I was like, yeah. So it's not just me.
I thought she saw or something happened to her when you left, though, didn't it?
She just could hear it, and I think it sat on her bed, and it does that. So
by this point, it just happens enough where you don't even doesn't bother you,
well,
right?
I mean, once in a while it gets to be a little much, and I just say I'm busy and I want to go to bed and do your shenanigans out in the other room, but don't do it where I'm sleeping and I'm trying to rest.
Well, now you've been there for a while, so it's never tried to. I mean, you've never got hurt.
I had one that was bad news around us. So I mean, the place has been anointed a couple times, and like. It's interesting. Like if I look around, like once in a while, I'll catch it. So they anoint it with oil and in the shape of a cross. And like once in a while, like the entryway above the shower, you'll see like this dripping, there's one on the wall back there, like right there. Every single wall in your home has to be anointed with blessed holy oil and a cross. So
wow.
Yeah, there was one that wasn't so hot and other people saw it. And I'm like, nah, you're out. Like, I don't. Otherwise, everything's good. But the bad ones, you don't want to. For people that don't believe in that stuff, good luck.
Yeah, right. Well, you know why I believe in it? Because my dad used to live in an apartment where he worked in Pennsylvania, and it used to be a hospital, and a lot of people died in this place.
Yeah, same with mine.
And the company that bought this converted all in the apartments for like guys that were coming in from out of town, and they stayed there.
Yes.
So we lived in Ohio. My dad got this job because they shut down the plant he was working at in Ohio. So he goes to this other job. So he was stayed there all week. Well, he always told me it was haunted. The ghost actually would shake him out of bed. It was a woman, and it was kind of in love with my dad. So it would always try to wake him up when he's sleeping. And literally, he said it would shake him out of bed. So I was probably 11 years old. And I remember I was staying up watching David Letterman real late, and I didn't have to go to school. So I went over there with Dad on a Thursday night, and we were going to stay there, and I was going to hang out with him at work and do some stuff and then go back home. So I told him not to get up and leave, but he told me when the ghost is in the house, it gets real cold. And like the furnace wouldn't work. So, and I was 11 years old because, I was a little scared of it then. So I remember I didn't go to bed till late, so I was real tired at 11 years old. So then as I fell asleep, I'm in the sleeping bag on the couch and my dad's in the bedroom, and the ghost opened up the door, and it's like a blizzard outside. So both locks that were on the door were unlocked. The door's wide open. Snow's coming in the house. I'm scared shitless. I put the sleeping bag over my head. I didn't move. I'm freezing. There's snow coming in the door. My dad wakes up and he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you, boy? The door's open." I said, "I'm afraid to get up and shut it." He's like, my dad was about to slap my teeth down my throat. So
I feel like this could be a whole episode.
So then real quick, my dad left that morning because I was sleeping. 11 years old, you don't hear nothing, when you fall asleep. So I get up, my dad's gone. It's like 5 a.m. I'm like, oh man, I got to go to the bathroom. I said, I'm going to take a shower. Well, there was no shower. You had to take a bathtub. So I jump in the bathtub. As soon as I jump in the bathtub, the furnace shuts off. It's cold as hell. I can see my breath. I'm not lying. This is a true story.
That's so crazy.
So I started shitting my pants, Goldy. I jumped out of the bathtub. There wasn't even a towel. I forgot to grab a towel. I was so scared. I ran out the door, grabbed my clothes. I had a roll of toilet or paper towels I grabbed, and I started driving myself off, running out in the snow, putting my clothes on, ran down to where my dad's shop was. He's like, "What is wrong with you, boy? You're an idiot." He's like, "You got snow. I'm soaking wet." He's like, "You're going to catch pneumonia." I was like, "I don't give a shit. That ghost was in the house. The furnace stopped." He's like, he goes, "You're an idiot."
He didn't understand, like, that was scary to you, or?
Well, you know, I was 11 years old. Yeah, he understood it, but he was so used to the ghost that he was just like, you're an idiot."
It is scary though, but once you kind of get used to stuff, and then I just get annoyed. Like,
Now the same ghost actually held my mom on the couch, and that's another reason I believe it, because my mom wouldn't have a reason to lie to me about a ghost holding her on the couch. So she went there to stay with my dad, and they were going to go hang out and go to like Hershey, PA, and go to the park and all this stuff. Well, the ghost literally held her on the couch, and she said she couldn't breathe very well, and
Yeah.
she couldn't get up, and she's trying to scream. She couldn't even scream. She couldn't say nothing. Like the ghost was holding her mouth shut. So she finally got up, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, she tells my dad, she goes, "Screw this shit, I'm leaving." She jumps in the car. She goes, "I'm getting a hotel. You can stay here." So my dad stayed there. My mom went and got a hotel.
Was your mom a religious woman at all, or secular, or spiritual, or not big?
Yeah, spiritual. I wouldn't say religious. We went to church and stuff. My dad was actually Catholic, but he didn't practice.
I'm always wondering, because like when stuff like anything has ever happened to me, I just get like, Jesus, get rid of this now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always wonder if stuff where like if people can't move or they're paralyzed, if it's because like maybe they're just not practicing faith like other people do, or this or that, not passing judgment. I'm just always wondering, like, where did they seep in? Because I'm a very religious person, very spiritual, and like I had one come that scared the shit out of me, but it was so bad, and it did it to other people too, and it was terrifying. But like the second time, I was angry, and I'm like, get out of here. Like, you're not welcome here at all. Like, and
well, so that's what my dad would do. He would yell at it, and she'd kind of leave for a while.
Yeah, for a while.
He had a cross up above his bed because it was a small apartment, and then he had a Bible there, and he had a cross above his bed, and it never messed with none of that, and it never hurt him.
Yeah,
it just like when he fell asleep, it wanted to, like hang out with him, I guess, and it tried to. He said it would literally shake him out of the bed, and then he would just yell at it.
Yeah, it's so you never know, like what they're obviously unsettled, and you don't know where they need to go or why, or it's crazy stuff. But answer your question. I still live here, so
I'm just glad nothing happened that night, because I was downstairs all alone. I was a little scared. I would have come run upstairs and jumped on you and Myra.
that's where it usually is upstairs, so it's all good.
No, I really wasn't scared. Just from the interactions I've had with ghosts in the
past. Oh, that's crazy stuff. Blake, you got any stories?
Man, I wish I was as interesting as you guys. No, I don't have anything like that. But we'll see. Maybe in the future. I'll be honest with you. I think it would be. I mean, obviously, it would be scary in the moment, I'm sure, but I think it would be.
Now that we're talking about it, he's going to get blessed with a ghost pretty soon.
Yeah, I feel like I'm inviting him in at this point. But,
I don't mess with that. Like, people want to come do shows and EVPs and all that. I just leave it. I don't want to mess with anything.
See, to me, like if you start doing stuff like that, it'll bring them out.
TV. But
one more time, you guys go one at a time. You were crossing over.
Alan, you go first.
Well, see, I wouldn't want to do that either in my house, because you would think they would kind of disturb them, maybe, or I don't know, maybe just piss them off.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, what I was saying is, if with a house like that, you could probably get on TV with that kind of thing if you wanted. But I feel like most of the stuff that is on TV about that, those people are just full of it. But
you never know. You never know if like they really are inviting stuff in. Or I've got some colleagues, associates that do a pretty popular ghost hunting show, and
oh, really?
I think a lot of it is real for them, but then again, it's content and TV, and you got to make something happen. But I mean, think about, like, if we're in the South, like there's just, well, anywhere there is, but like there's just so much creepy shit here. And mine's a hospital that was for the DuPont. Oh, shit, I shouldn't say that. Whatever. Anyways, mine's a hospital. It was a clinic for a place back in the day, and a lot of people passed here. And I went and had a reading to find my mom, and I wanted my dad to come along because I was back in my hometown where Lenny Lane is from. And I just remember booking this really expensive reading because all of my friends said, I just had somebody pass. I went and saw the psychic medium. She was amazing. I was like, wow, maybe the next time I'm back home, I'll go see her. So it was really expensive and I booked it. I showed up at her place, super pissed that I was there. I'm like, what's going on? Well, you booked a phone. I'm like, I didn't book a phone reading for $400. Well, that's my reading. And in person is, I'm like, what's in person? Like $1,000? Like that's, that's crazy. You're not like the Long Island medium. You're some Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. She was so put out. And then she was like, well, who's that? Well, it was my dad. And I wanted him to come to be a part of it if we could find my mom. And I just said, it's my ride. And she's like, well, I don't like to have multiple people in for a reading. I'm like, well, he'll just sit in the corner. Like, he's just my ride. Don't make him sit out in the car on a hot day. Fine. She was all upset. Sit down. Yeah. She starts like reading, giving me my reading, talking about my dead kid. And I'm just like, my face, she's like, you got a problem with this? I'm like, well, it's not that I have a problem with it, but I don't have any kids. I've never had any kids. I've never even been pregnant. So, that's a misfire. And then she's like, all right, it's your husband that died. I'm like, okay, I've never been married. Like, Then she's like, this isn't going to work if you don't believe it. And I'm like, well, obviously if I put $400 on my credit card, it's going to work. So I believe it.
So you just needed to concentrate, Goldy. You weren't concentrating.
She was getting hot. She was getting super pissed at me. And then finally she was like yelling out all this stuff. And my dad answered and he's like, no, it was this. And she's like, you get out of the seat. Him. This is why I don't do multiple readings. So she sits down and starts like reading my dad. And it's like so on point to the point where he was embarrassed that I was there. And I'm like, I'm not even listening, Anyway, she's like called. She's like, there's somebody in the room and they're very angry. And I swear to God, you guys, when I entered this lady's home, I felt my mom's presence there with her arms crossed and anger. It was really like very angry. And I'm like, what is this? It was a really weird vibe. Well, anyway, she starts calling out all the affairs my dad has had over the years. These are affairs that I knew about. Like, oh, your dad's getting his hair cut again. I'm like, really? He just got it cut like a week ago. Seems like every week my dad was getting his hair cut by this chick, So I knew all these floozy ladies' names. So when the lady called out blah and blah and blah, I was like, damn. Like my mom was there not to see me, but to like avenge her. Like she wanted revenge. She wanted my dad to know, I know. And so it was really interesting. Now, when everything was done, it got like all hot and heated. And I was like, well, how can he fix what's going on? And she's like, well, you wouldn't know anything about it. There's Catholic prayers. And my dad's like, I say those prayers and you need to go say this novena, blah, blah, blah. So finally she sends my dad on his way, says, you sit back down. And I was like, oh, okay. And I sat down and she's like, you've got these 6 people on each side of you. You got 12 people. And I'm like, what do you mean I've got 12 people? She says, you have 12 people and they're dressed in Confederate soldier outfit. Now she doesn't know where I live. She thinks I live in Minneapolis. She doesn't know that I'm from Tennessee with this hospital where a bunch of Confederate soldiers died. So basically she says, I don't know what your deal is, but you've got these 12 soldiers that are with you. And it appears as though they come with you everywhere. Doesn't know my story worth Adam. Describing what they look like. She said, it's not horrible energy, but it's not good either. She said, they're dragging you down. They're wasted space. And they literally, like, I guess I had a posse of like dead soldiers coming with me wherever I go. So anyways, I figured out a way, part of the anointing and all that. Just like, I don't need that with me. So I don't know if they still are around or not or whatever, but like, it's all because of my haunted hospital. So
they're just looking out for you.
Crazy stuff. Are they? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
So you haven't had anything recently that you felt them there?
No.
Well, hey, if she did what she said, that she's got the power of Christ on her side.